So, on to putting in some images. So if we click onto install images, what we need to do first is create an image group. You can't put an image onto WDS without a group, and this is just a container to put things in. So I'm going to create one for Windows 7, I'll create one for Windows 10 as well, but we're only going to put a Windows 10 one Windows 10 image in here. After we've got the image groups created, we can right click and go to add install image. So this is the operating system image that we're going to apply to a computer. Just normal browse window. On here, I'll go through and I'll select my image, which is a Windows 10 build. That's already been sysprepped. I'll click on to next, and it will automatically find the name that's attached to that image, that WIM. If I want to keep it, I can just click next, but by unticking that bottom box, I can customize how I want it to appear. So I'll call my name this. The image name is what will be presented at the when you boot into WDS. The description is I think it's passed on at the same time. I think it's available at the bottom, but you can that can be viewed through the WDS console as well. So I'll just put in no extra software in there, because it's a blank image. I'll click on next, and just next again to confirm, and that scurries off and drags in the image. This can take a while, depending on obviously on the size of the image that you're pulling in. I'll just speed it up like that. And now that's been completed and pulled into the server, and we can see there we've got one image, 64-bit, Windows 10, it's online and ready to go. If I click properties, there's a few things I can change on here. At the top we've got these different tabs showing us the details of the image, the filters, how we can amend what kind of hardware this image will be applied to, which we won't use. And at the bottom, if we tick the box, we can add our unattended file. So I've already brought this over, Windows 10 64 OS as opposed to the PE one. The OS is for the installation image. If I link that in, click OK, then that image is now ready to go. However, we can't do anything without a boot image, so we need to go to add boot images, click on browse. I'll once again find our boot image. I've already got one on the E drive on here. So select this. Boot images are a lot smaller than full operating system images. Again, we need to customize the name. You can leave it as default, but it doesn't mean that much. I tend to call it install new operating system with the type of architecture as well attached to it. So x64, x86, and we finish on there. So we'll let this come in. Just as you got different architectures of operating system, you need to use the correct boot image for the correct OS. So you can't boot to a 32-bit boot image and push out a 64-bit operating system. It needs to be the same. So we've got our new boot image there. I can go to properties here. You'll note that I don't get the option to add an unattended file here at this point. If you remember from before, if we click on properties on the Solus server, that is specified in here. And whilst I'm here, what I can also do, under the boot section, I can add a default boot image, which will mean that when I do an F12, this is what's automatically highlighted if it detects that the box is on a 64-bit hardware. And on the client section here, I can specify our unattended file. Now it comes up in the remote install folder. If I try and browse somewhere else, so I've currently got the unattended file for the PE, which is the boot one, on my desktop. If I select that and try and open it, it will complain loudly at me because that file needs to be within the remote install folder before you can select it. So I'll just copy it out of here. I'll jump back to on this box. I've got it on C remote install, whereas we normally have it on E remote install. And and I'll just drop it into the default WDS client unattended folder. Drop it in there. Now select it, say open, and it's linked it in without complaining. I can click OK and apply, and so we've now got a boot image and a install image all ready to go. One extra thing that you can do is to create a capture image, which you can do by right clicking the boot image and click create capture image. Go through here, as it's a capture one, I'm going to name it capture new OS, and I need to tell it where it's going to create that file. It wants a location to save this capture WIM in, so I'm just going to drop it on the root of the C drive for now and kick it off. So this capture image is what we will use if you have a operating system which you've configured with all your software that you want, and you're then going to capture it back to the WDS server to deploy out. In order to be able to do that, you need to sysprep your source operating system that's ready, and then you boot onto WDS using the capture image on that machine, and you can then tell it to capture that sysprepped machine. It will save it to a WIM file and then upload it directly into WDS for you, so you can then deploy that on other machines. This is just finishing off the capture. I've sped this up as the capture image process can take a long time to run through. So as this is chugging away, there we go, that's all done, which is great. After this we just need to tell it to add the image onto the WDS server. You don't need to by default, but if you don't do it, it's less useful as you won't be able to use it. A couple of things to bear in mind when you're sysprepping a machine to go onto the server. I'm just following this wizard all the way through. I'm not changing anything. This is just adding the boot image onto our box. Yeah, with sysprep, a couple of things you need to be aware of is that there are a variety of different options you can hit, and some of them will not help you at all. I'll do a separate how-to on how to use that later on. So I'm just waiting for this to finish off, and we're nearly done. And at the end of this, like that, we've now got a capture image, a boot image, and we have an installation image, which means that our WDS server is all ready to go.